Okay, so my first question, really straightforward. Do you think it is the right choice for a player athlete to head down south if a scholarship is offered to them?
Um, yes, I do. Yeah, I believe in Canada. I don't think that we even understand them, the Americans, the way they treat athletes and sports down there as compared to what we do up here. It's just an incredible. It's incredible to see.
Now, you may have had experience in talking. Well, actually, could you give an example maybe of prior experience where you've had kids are making the decision whether to stay here or go down south?
I've only been fortunate enough to run into about four that have been offered scholarships down into the States, and three of them accepted, and the fourth one wanted to stay home because of family. I never ever try to influence what their decision's going to be. I'll try to lay out exactly what I think is going to happen for them, just from experiences with other kids. So I don't really try to influence where they're going, but three out of four have chosen the American route that I have been associated with.
Good. Now, what would you say? Like you say, you don't really try and like push them to where to go, but what would some advice be for a player who's making that decision?
I don't know if you know, but down into the States, when they offer you, they have a what they call an open window, and when they have this open window, universities are allowed to take you down to show you campus. It's called a visit, and I believe each kid that is offered scholarships is allowed four different visits, all expenses paid. So in a couple cases, they flew them down, and they went to the four places and seen just what was going to be offered as far as playing facilities, practice facilities, everything else like that. So I mean, I encourage them to go and see just exactly what the university is about and what they're going to offer.
Okay, good. Now, do you think, especially in basketball, do you think there's better opportunities in the States rather than in Canada? Because there's never been a Canadian player drafted from a Canadian university. They all have to go down to the States. Do you think there's equal opportunity?
I think it's kind of like hockey. You see in the NHL more and more Americans, Germans, and other countries, their kids are being drafted. I don't think there's many stones that are not overturned in sports in general because it's so much money nowadays. However, with that being said, I think the premier league for being drafted by the NBA teams is definitely the NCAA Division I. So if you want to, I just think the chances of them seeing you is higher in the NCAA than it would be up here at the university level or community college here.
Do you kind of see maybe in the future, like there's programs such as Carleton who just have been so strong for so long and actually in exhibition games compete with NCAA schools. Do you see scouts maybe, because there's a lot more talent coming from Europe now, do you think maybe scouts start coming up to Canada and seeing that?
I think they already have done that. I think you see the
Message in the office for Caitlin Gordonier. Gymnastics will be on the stage now. Please bring your money to Miss Noyce this week.
I think it's proof that the University of Texas, they were, Canada was...
Rob Casey, go to guidance, please. Rob Casey to guidance.
They would show signs on TV that Canada is the capital of Texas because they were bringing, Tristan Thompson and all these other kids. I mean, it's no secret out there that Canada is really, really getting better as far as our basketball players are concerned. I mean, when the NCAA comes on and March Madness, the tournament comes on, I mean, our numbers are up like 60, 70 kids that are playing in that tournament from across Canada. And I mean, the one kid that we had here, he went down there and he said that, you know, as far as coaching and whatnot, he was learning stuff that we as Canadian coaches had taught him a couple years ago. You know,
Yeah.
so I think that the scouts are already up here, and they are seeing that you know, we can compete.
Now, talking about education, do you think it's equal? Like, do you think it's, if the decision is right, if the athletics are right down there, do you think that it's equal
Jasmine Videra to the office.
education? You can get good education there as well as here.
I do. I think that it's equal. I think for some of the athletes, I think they go above and beyond as far as supplying tutors down in the division, at the Division 1 level. Quinte, our school, has been pretty successful for putting athletes out. We have hockey kids that have gone down on scholarships. Female hockey stars, Jackie Gerald, for instance, and I was actually, she's come back here to work, and she was telling me that, you know, when they would go on bus trips or in between games or whatever, if she needed it, there was like 6 to 8 tutors available for her.
Wow.
You know, and I haven't heard that up here at the university. You know, I've heard a couple kids that from the local area that play in a university in Canada that they can get the help, but it's not as ready available as what it is made down into the States. So
now, do you think that over the next little while, like Canada's kind of started to get better a little bit with offering bursaries and stuff like that? Do you think in the near future, or maybe even the distant future, we can kind of almost bring up the level to where the States is?
I think that's a difficult issue. You see what happens in the States, and in the sense that there are so many that cheat. There's no other way that you can say it. And I mean, as far as I'm concerned, that's one thing in Canada at the university levels we can be proud of, is that we haven't got the stakes up there high enough that we're cheating, basically. So that's a tough one. I mean, you hope that the kids that need the bursaries or need the scholarships, that they're there and available. But on the other hand, you know, you have to watch. You can't go too fast with it. I think we have to lay down guidelines and rules for them, and you just pray we don't get into the same sort of trouble that the States are in right now with the cheating and all the other stuff that's going on.
Yeah, perfect. That's all the questions I have. The 4 players that you were talking about that had scholarship offers, do any of them live in Belleville or the Belleville area now?
No. 3 of them took the scholarships and went to the States. One is still in the States, married, and has remained there and works alongside the university. And Jamie is in Bakersfield, California now. And the other boy was a football player, and I don't know where he is, to be honest with you, but I know he's still in the States.
Okay.
So I find that most of the kids that go down on scholarship, they get some sort of an attachment down there. And I think the biggest thing is we have no idea the emphasis that the Americans put on sports. In Canada, we have no idea. I've gone down there to watch the kids that I've coached play. It is an atmosphere. It's hard to explain.
It's actually intense. Like the fact, like you go down to like even a Division 2 school, and their stadium's just huge.
Yeah.
And whereas like
Jasmine Videra to the
up
office.
in Sudbury, like Laurentian University draws maybe a couple hundred fans in a game. Even if they're playing Carleton, they maybe draw a couple hundred fans. Whereas like it's the thousands and thousands, and just the support system behind the athletes, right? It's just unreal.
The last 2 years that Jamie was at Iowa State, I drove down the one time. It's like 14-hour drive to Ames, Iowa, and they were playing Kansas.
Yeah.
It was phenomenal. By accident, I got led down by the coach, and I was standing down courtside, and I couldn't help noticing Kansas came out and was doing the warm-up. And one of the kids from Kansas was, "How's it going, coach?" Blah, blah, blah. And I just good, how are you? And the assistant coach for Iowa State said, do you know why he's talking to you? I said, no. He says, this is where the NBA scouts stand. He said, he thinks you're an NBA scout. It was Cole Aldridge.
Wow.
And he came over and we were talking and whatnot. I wished him luck and everything. I mean, his legs like came up to my chest, and he wore a size 23 shoe.
Yeah.
I was just like, wow. But the atmosphere, the kids, the college kids, was incredible. And then the year after I went down, I flew down to Chicago and watched him play Duke at the United Center.
Wow.
And it was crazy. It was crazy. He said, you know, this is nothing, because he was used to it. You know, like you said, when I was in school, we were lucky to get 175 kids or 75 people out to watch the games. I mean, that's what they get for practice.
Yeah, I know.
You know, it's crazy. You're right.
I think just one game I would like to play at a big stadium like that. It'd just be awesome. Even if I saw like 5 minutes of the floor, I wouldn't even care.
It's, you know, I always thought, because I never played at that level, that, you know, you'd be scared stiff walking out there. But then when you sit back and you look at it, I look at somebody again like Jamie and see his progression. He went from Quinte, and we drew pretty good because we had him here. So I would say we're up around 150 to 200 kids a game. Yeah. Or fans a game.
And you fill the stands, and that makes it feel a lot bigger too.
Then he went and played for the Toronto Mission, which played in the what we would call the OBA league down in the States.
Right.
And they went to Vegas and whatnot, and they played in front of 3,000 to 5,000.
Yeah.
You know, so it's that
it's
gradual, until he didn't think anything of it.
Right.
I mean, I said, this is Kansas. And I said to him before, and he was warming up, we were talking, and I said, like, this is Kansas. And he's like, yeah, coach, you should come down and see Allen Fieldhouse. It's nuts. And he said of all the places that he ever played, Kansas Arena, Allen Fieldhouse is the best, bar none, for atmosphere. And he said, it's